So I released a video the other day. It was called My Game Was Not a Hit. And it talked about the release of Puzzle Box Tower on Roblox and how it didn't really become as successful as I would have liked it to. One thing I talk about in the video is how I use data as a sort of feedback from players. And I use that to help build the game to be more approachable to new players. One of the reasons that I do that to begin with is because it is very difficult to find a user base who will actually give you good feedback. I posted this video on Reddit the other day on the Roblox subreddit, and I got a lot of feedback. It was mostly overwhelmingly negative. I think some people, upon seeing this, would probably be very discouraged, and I get that, You put some work into something and it just doesn't resonate with certain people. But I found this great. And the reason I found this great is really what I want to touch on in this video. You see, there's this thing on both the internet and real life where, as a creator, when you try to get feedback, people don't want to tell you if that feedback is negative. And that can make it really hard to continually build towards something that a large amount of people will like. I guess before we go any further, let's kind of dig into that thread and see what people had to say about Puzzle Box Tower. Now, I'm not going to read all the comments in this video because that's just kind of boring and would take too long. I'll throw some up on the screen if you want to look a little more closely, but I'll just summarize the main takeaways I got. Firstly, the game is too generic. It's basically a classic Roblox obby, and a lot of these ideas were already used in Sky of Secrets. And even back then, they weren't particularly unique. At the very least, it would have needed some type of unique hook to really get a lot of players' attention. Another common complaint was that the game was too easy and boring, at least until the final parts. It's interesting because when I was taking this database approach to feedback, I actually found the opposite. Once I made the early part of the game easier, the average time of players went up. So maybe that just comes down to finding the right audience for that type of thing. And lastly, and this was probably the most common complaint, was that the visuals were too boring. And I could totally see why people would think that. I mean, you look at the game, it's pretty much just a bunch of blocks with some textures slapped on a few things. Honestly, if I was still doing Roblox games, I would probably start posting on this subreddit a lot more frequently. This is a lot of great actionable feedback. Now, the problem is that my next major project is my meal planner app, Grocery Compass. And I'm not going to be able to get feedback from the people on the Roblox subreddit for something like that. So I guess my next course of action would be to find that sort of audience for Grocery Compass. You see, Grocery Compass for a long time was just me. Sometime last year, I opened up a private internal testing track with maybe 8 people. And that was good for a little bit. I got some feedback here and there, but eventually that dried up. So I didn't really have any choice but to put it into public beta so I could get more feedback for the new updates. I opened that public beta right at the end of 2025, and I've gotten a little bit, but nowhere as much as I would like. I haven't released a new update to Grocery Compass since that public beta went live, but I've been working in the background, and I want to release something soon. I think I'm going to put out a video that covers me using this app in everyday life to sort of give people more of an idea of how it's meant to be used. Keep an eye out for that video, and if you have a use case for it, download the app and see what you think for yourself. I'm trying to make it good, and for that, I need to know where it sucks.